Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now, Monday, November 28th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, a brand new week and ready to get it started with a 6-game Monday NHL card, breaking it down as we always do here on the show. It was a very strong Sunday of betting results for both of us, really, in the NHL. We both had a lot of good results go in our favor. 8-0 sweep of the board for yours truly yesterday. It was a great day. I mean, everything that saw the board well and things played out the way we were hoping for. The Wild and the Coyotes game ended up getting over the total, which was good to see. We took the Jets team total over and the full game over against Chicago. That got there. The best bet was Seattle in regulation. That one got a little dicey as Seattle had multiple leads and Anaheim kept on coming back, but the Seattle Kraken eventually emerged with a 5-4 victory without needing overtime. So the Seattle in regulation best bet cashes in the over as well in that game. Vancouver gets it done, and the over, which was, I thought for sure, going to be the bet that I lose that's going to cost me this perfect sweep today. And sure enough, it was an explosion in the third period in that game, and Vancouver ends up with a 4-3 victory in overtime over the San Jose Sharks. Great performances from Kuzmenko and Mikheyev in particular in that victory, and a great road trip for the Canucks, who are suddenly back on the beam again and right back in the mix in terms of the wild card race in the Western Conference. And the Ottawa Senators, I took that shot with them at plus 135, saying after the long losing streak got snapped against Anaheim, that a lot of times you'll see teams maybe reel off another win or two at least following the ending of a long losing streak. And I know it was a tough opponent, LA, but you're right, Kings weren't at their best. And Ottawa gets a overtime win thanks to a terrific pass, by the way, to Claude Giroux from one end of the ice to the other, and he finishes off the breakaway for a 3-2 overtime win for the Senators last night over the Kings. So perfect 8-0. Love the way it went yesterday, but that was yesterday. This is today. Hopefully we can build on that here on a Monday. Alex, thoughts from you on the Sunday slate?
Yeah, interesting slate of games. It wasn't as fortunate as you were with some of the results. Like you said, that Vancouver-San Jose game, I thought we were going to see scoring. Didn't see enough of it early. And that's another first period over that we missed now with the Canucks. Despite the high pace, end up getting that win in overtime. And the Kings, that was a spot that I liked. I thought they were going to play a lot better as they kind of just dragged their feet and nothing happened in the third period, go to OT. So I already lose with the regulation, but then Ottawa finishes it off in OT. And I mean, the Chicago Blackhawks just looked absolutely dismal. I mean, this is truly, they're in full tank mode now at this point. What we saw in the first month was an aberration. This is truly what this Hawks team looks like. They just don't have enough offensive punch. Tennessee has really been the only guy who's consistently scoring night in and night out, and he had a goal taken away early that would have given the Hawks a 1-0 lead. It seemed like they just got deflated after that call, that offsides call was there. Winnipeg goes on to score maybe 2.5, 3 minutes later. They run it off for 7 goals. That's just the way it's going to be. But that was an impressive win for Winnipeg. Get 7 goals up, and now they're truly entrenched as one of these teams we have to watch out for in the Central Division. They're right there with the Colorados and Dallases in that division. And despite what things we're looking at the beginning of the year, they seem like they could be a team to make a real push for a playoff spot.
Yeah, no question. It's been a nice run for them, no question. We've talked about this Kraken team for weeks and just what they've been doing. It's been impressive. Canucks obviously starting to all of a sudden pick it up. So those are two teams to watch out for. They're two of the hotter teams in the Western Conference right now. I mean, who would have said that a week or two ago? Seattle Kraken, Vancouver Canucks, but outstanding run.
And one more thing too, with the that Wild and Coyotes game, I watched pretty much all of that game yesterday. Yep. The Wild are just, I mean, that's the epitome of a bad loss. We always talk about bad beats and bad bets and lucky wins. That's a bad loss because you had a flat Arizona team coming in at the end of, like I said, technically the end of a road trip. Of course, they have 4 more road games, but they're getting ready to fly home after being gone for over 2.5, nearly 3 weeks. And you've got Minnesota that's been at home all week. The early start time wasn't an issue because they'd already played one on Friday. Everything in their favor against a team that you've beaten handily by margin year in and year out. And they just were absolutely flat in the first period. They had a ton of chances, only converted one goal. They get out to a 4-1 lead late in the second, and then they just take the foot off the gas. Arizona comes back, makes it a 4-3
So it's a
game.
bad win in your opinion. Yeah.
I think it's a terrible win. I think
Bad
it's a
win.
terrible win. That's a team you're supposed to put away in that spot, 6-2, 7-2. You only win 4-3, and you gave the Coyotes ample chances late with the empty net to possibly tie that game. Considering the start that they've had to the year, I thought that was a really bad win. And like I said, it's going to show up as 2 points in the standings. But just keep that in note, and that's something that I look at. That's just kind of handicapping one-on-one with this. Not every win is a quality win. That for sure was not a quality win for the Wild yesterday.
Absolutely. Shout out to our friend Andrew McGinnis. I see you, Andrew, in the chat. Hope you're doing well. We're going to have to get you on the show, by the way, in December. I know you've been traveling a lot. I know, as far as I know, you've been traveling a lot the last month or two, but hopefully you're settling in back in Halifax. We'll get you on hopefully sometime here in the month of December. I'll send you a message. We'll see if we can get our old colleague here on the Ice Guys show, Andrew, back on at some point for a special guest appearance. And of course, we already have our other former colleague, Jimmy, joining us every week throughout the season. But yeah, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And definitely, yeah, you look at it the way Minnesota teams sometimes will do that. And this has been the season of the third period comeback. I mean, and we almost saw it with Arizona yesterday, and we saw it with obviously Florida blowing it against St. Louis. We saw the Rangers collapse against the Oilers on Saturday. I mean, it's not the COVID pandemic anymore. It's the third period lead pandemic, and nobody's holding it anymore right now at this point in time. So absolutely good stuff. And Andrew, by the way, speaking of Andrew, who's in the chat here, our betcast tomorrow night for November, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're around, Alex or Andrew, we'll join. Alex is definitely on it. Andrew, if you're around as well, join us. Absolutely. Our November live betcast, Tuesday, November 29th, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, a loaded Tuesday night slate. We are looking forward to it. We've got 9 games on tap, and probably none bigger than the return of Matthew Tkachuk to Calgary for the first time as a member of the Florida Panthers, taking on the Flames. That'll be the highlight of the betcast tomorrow night for sure. We will definitely stay on till the end of that game. So we'll be on 7 p.m. Eastern until probably around 11:30, 11:45 p.m. Eastern minimum, at least till the Florida-Calgary game concludes. And then we'll see how we're feeling with those late games at that point in time. But, yeah, we'll make sure we have a big, long night ahead. I mean, I've got my rest. I actually got a really good night's sleep, so I am ready for a long night at doing a live betcast tomorrow night on a Tuesday. So if anyone wants to join us, just send me or Alex a DM, and we will send you the link for the betcast so you can join us on the stream tomorrow night on Tuesday. So definitely looking forward to that. All right, let's get into the Monday night card. We've got 6 games on tap, and we will begin with the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Currently, right now, we see Toronto minus 150 road favorites in this game. The total right now sitting at 6, shaded to the over in this one. Look, we've sung the praises of the Leafs during this little run that they have put together. It's been remarkable to watch because of the fact that they have been without so many key cogs on the blue line during this stretch of games, and yet they have found a way to persevere, overcome that, win 4 of their last 5, including 3 straight against pretty good hockey teams. They obviously handed the New Jersey Devils that loss that snapped their 13-game win streak, and then, of course, the Minnesota victory 4-3. They beat Pittsburgh 4-1. After that. So it's been an impressive run. And we talked about this yesterday when we recapped Saturday. It's like this team needed probably their best 3 defensemen in their own zone, in their own end, in terms of the way they play away from the puck. The best 3, I would say, stay-at-home defensemen on this Leafs team by far are the 3 guys that are out right now. Morgan Rielly, TJ Brody, and Jake Muzzin. And the fact that they have overcome those 3 absences, they have played as a very good 5-man unit at both ends of the ice. Like I said, I've never seen the Leaf forwards back check consistently, shift after shift, like they have these last 3 games. And it makes you think that why couldn't they do this when they have their blue line fully healthy? Why can't they do that consistently year-round? But nevertheless, they have done that lately, and that's what's allowed them to overcome this shorthanded blue line that they've been having to deal with. They've also gotten just outstanding performances from everybody. Giordano's been a machine on the blue line. Justin Hall, who's been the whipping boy for Leaf fans, he's even played a little bit better as of late, paired with Giordano. Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren have done an outstanding job in the second pairing, taking up bigger minutes, more responsibility, and not having it overwhelm them. Victor Mete and Mac Hollowell, they haven't been noticeable, but that's a good thing. You don't want those guys noticeable, because if they're noticeable, they're probably making a mistake. They're turning the puck over. So it's been really good to see the Leaf blue line step up collectively with these absences, and the line changes that Sheldon Keefe has made lately have worked. I mean, Bunting with Matthews and Nylander has been a good line. Tavares with Marner, since Marner's been shifted with Tavares, man, those two are cooking right now for the Leafs. I mean, there's lots to like with the way they're playing right now. This is the end of a road trip for them. They go back home after this, playing San Jose. But at the same time, they also play a team tonight in Detroit that's also playing very good hockey. 4 straight wins over San Jose, Columbus, Nashville, Arizona. Now, the difference is some of those wins are against Sisters of the Poor. I mean, San Jose, Columbus, Arizona, Nashville. It's not exactly beating New Jersey, Minnesota, and Pittsburgh, like Toronto has. But at the same point in time, my numbers indicate a little value on Detroit tonight, believe it or not, at plus 130. I'm kind of tempted by the Red Wings as a home underdog in this spot. It's already been a nice road trip here for the Leafs. And from a competition standpoint, yeah, it looks on paper like Detroit is not Pittsburgh or Minnesota or New Jersey, but I like what I've seen from this Red Wings team. They're getting a lot of different guys contributing on a nightly basis. Dylan Larkin's been very strong all season for them. No question about that. He scored the shootout goal to beat Arizona the other night. There's no doubt it's going to, and even with guys like Fabry out for a long period of time, they've had Soderblom out for a while. Vrana hasn't played all season. Zadina has been on IR for a while. Larkin's been good. Kubalik's been outstanding offense, a little bit of a bounce back year from him. David Perron's been a nice addition. They got Andrew Kopp offensively starting to get things going a little bit for them lately as well. He's got 4 points in the last 4 games. And I have been failing to mention this with Detroit the last few games. And thankfully, someone on Twitter DM'd me about this guy. And and it just kept slipping my mind to mention it and bring this up on the show. One of the biggest bargain bin goal scorer props right now in the entire league is defenseman Philip Roenick right now for the Detroit Red Wings. I shit you not. It's really remarkable what we've seen here in the last few games from him. I mean, this is not someone you think of as someone that's going to light the lamp, find the back of the net game after game after game. But Philip Roenick here for the Detroit Red Wings, in his last 4 games, he has scored 5 goals in the last 4 games and 7 points for the Detroit Red Wings from the blue line in those last 4 games. And obviously, from a prop standpoint, you have not seen him priced anywhere close to this in terms of his impact. And even tonight, he's plus 750. Plus 750. Let me repeat that. Just so you get the earwax out of your ears, get the Q-tips out. Just make sure you hear this. Plus 750. Philip Roenick of the Detroit Red Wings to score a goal. Now, I've missed out on this the last 2 games. This will be the night he finally doesn't score, probably. But at that price, you have to look at it. There's no question about that. Plus 750. The guy's shooting the puck a ton. He's got 4-3-3 shots on goal the last 3 games. He had 1 against San Jose and Anaheim in each of those games. Then he had 3-4-3 before that. I mean, what can you say? He's got 5 goals in the last 4 games. He's shooting the puck a ton, and he's plus 750 to score a goal tonight. Unbelievable value. And again, he's been that price the last few games too. And I've just, failed to mention it, failed to bet it, forgotten to bet it. Not tonight. Definitely, we're going to get on that with Philip Roenick. I like Detroit a little bit. Small bet on them, plus 130. These are the kind of spots the Leafs lose. As much as they're playing well right now, 3 great wins in a row. Now you're playing on a Detroit team that's played Toronto tough, actually, in recent head-to-head meetings. Even though Toronto's won 7 straight, some of these were pretty close games. Last year, a little bit ugly, and there was that crazy 10-7 game. I actually think with both goalies playing like they have right now, Murray for Toronto is in net. Husso for Detroit, who's been very good as well. You might see it a little bit of a lower scoring game. I'm certainly not in a rush to bet over with those 2 goalies right now, both playing the way they are. Murray's been excellent, and Husso's been every bit as good. So lean under, and I might take a small shot here with Detroit. And obviously, I like Philip Roenick's prop, plus 750. Hopefully, this is not the night the well runs dry for him What do you think here, Alex? Toronto, Detroit.
Yeah, I'm definitely telling you on that Ronick at plus 750. That is absolutely insane, and you have to take big value like that. That's worth even a half unit shot. But this spot, like I said, these are usually spots the Leafs lose. It's hard to back them, even in a regulation price. When like I said, the record against Detroit has been outstanding. 20-6 the last 26 meetings, won 7 straight. It doesn't matter where they play. If it's in Toronto or Detroit, they've played well. And you have to throw that 10-7 game kind of out the window when you're looking at past history. That's something you're not going to see too often. And that game was just so bizarre. I was looking at the box score of that earlier. Do you realize that there was only 3 penalties called in that game? No power play goals and 1 shorthanded goal in that span of 17 goals in that. So that's just one of those games that you bookmark it, but you put it aside when you talk
Yeah.
about past history. You can't just. I mean, yes, it was an over, but like I said, these two teams look to be trending more under. Matt Murray's in great form, which is something that I'm sure is delighting most of Leafs Nation right now. They were wondering what they would be getting from him, especially already having some injury issues this year. And Ville Husso, of course, he's definitely the number one guy, hands down, for the Wings with how Ned has been playing in that backup role. And they went and got Magnus Hellberg to kind of almost battle him now, possibly could, if he does well in Grand Rapids, could even move up and take that spot from him. So it's Husso's the guy for Detroit, and they've been running hot right now. It's hard to take them, hard to not take them as a plus 130 dog at home. Probably make it a small play as well. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Toronto does win. I mean, like you said, okay, well, that's the series history. That's the course that they go. But Detroit at a plus price with this win streak, if they win tonight, probably not going to be able to get a plus price for them for quite some time. So I'll take a shot here with the Red Wings, and I'll go with Ronick to score a goal to a plus 750.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Toronto is playing well, but at the same point in time, you have to factor in that they're doing this without some key players, some really key players on that blue line. Can they absolutely keep doing this? Game in and game out with arguably your 3 best D out of the lineup, and still end up winning games like this. We'll see. But yeah, you're not going to get Detroit, as a home underdog at this price very often. They're 7-4 at home this year. I mean, they've played their best hockey at the Pizza Box here. Little Caesars Arena all season long. So I think, and in this spot, when it's already been a great road trip, worst case scenario, you're 3-1 on this road trip if you lose tonight. If you're Toronto, maybe looking forward to getting back home after. I think there's enough reasons to take a shot here with Detroit tonight in this one, especially given the value and the price. Next up, we've got New Jersey and New York. Devils, Rangers. Devils minus 115, road favorites, 6 the total in this one. I mean, it's Devils or pass for this better. I'll say that right now. I mean, I do fear the collective, feeling ashamed, feeling just scorned after what happened against Edmonton on Saturday from this Rangers team. You got to think there's fire in their belly. They come out with a mammoth effort. They know that New Jersey Devils are kind of stealing their thunder right now in the Metropolitan Division. This was supposed to be the New York Rangers division potentially coming into the season. The New Jersey Devils, the way they're playing, they're trying to make it their own. So you got to believe here the Rangers are fired up and want to make amends for just a brutal third period the other night, which cost them against the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday afternoon. But at the same point in time, you want to fade the Devils right now, knock yourself out. They're only 18-4. They're only 9-1 on the road this year. You want to go against that with the way this team's playing, be my guest. I'm not willing to do it. Now, this price has obviously shifted quite a bit. Before the season, what are we talking here? Rangers maybe minus 170 at home in this, honestly,
At least.
And I might even be generous saying that the Rangers are only minus 170 at home against the New Jersey Devils prior to the season starting. So obviously the odds makers have shifted. The perception is down on the Rangers right now because they've had some tough losses, some bad losses as well. They lost to Detroit at home. They lost to San Jose at home. They lost to the Anaheim Ducks at the end of that road trip. Everybody's beating the Anaheim Ducks, but apparently not the New York Rangers. And then, of course, they have that third period meltdown against the Edmonton Oilers. Although, to be honest, it was fool's gold, Alex, that the Rangers were up 3-0 in that game. They weren't playing as good as being up 3-0 would indicate in that game. And Edmonton was carrying a lot of the play, and they just weren't capitalizing on their chances, and everything going on the red light district known as Jack Campbell early in that game was going in. So you have to factor that in a bit. But the Oilers started to capitalize. They got the power play opportunities, and they made the most of them in it being able to come back in that game. Yeah, for me, I'm going to be on New Jersey here at this price. It does feel like everybody is. I get it. But the Rangers they're not in that. And to me, the Rangers, when I see them play, as much as I like Panarin, who's been, I think, up and down this year at times. I know the assist numbers are there and the point numbers are there, but there's been times when he's made some turnovers with the puck, just been very lethargic, very lackadaisical. Kreider and Zibanejad, the offensive numbers are there, but same thing. I mean, there's some shifts where they look like they're not giving it their best away from the puck at times. And, just their overall team game defensively at times hasn't been good, and that's put Igor Shesterkin out there and hung him out to dry a few times. Combined with the fact that Shesterkin, I don't think, is playing nearly up to the level that he is fully capable of. He hasn't been bad, but he's not been that A-plus level that we, unfortunately, for better or worse, we've seen enough of Shesterkin. We expect him to be just elite every night, and that's not always going to be the case. And he's had many nights this season where he has not been elite in between the pipes for the Rangers, and he's going to have to be that way probably here tonight in this game. I'm still going to take New Jersey, even though I know like the Gerard Gallant saying we've had bad periods. I don't remember a 4-goal period like that. We were absolutely awful. It's embarrassing. It's not acceptable. Obviously, it was the typical words of a coach that you'd expect, after blowing the game like they did on Saturday afternoon. But nevertheless, I mean, it's just, I find they're a little bit slow right now too when I watch the Rangers play. I find that they're losing puck battles, and that's not what you want against New Jersey. They've got speed for days on all 4 lines, all over the ice. Their blue line is mobile and move the puck up the ice very quickly. That collective group, that's not what you want to see necessarily when you're playing the New Jersey Devils, that you're losing foot race situations, so the likes of which I think the New York Rangers rather have been losing in their last few games. We have no goalie confirmations here yet for this game, but the projections are Shesterkin and Vanacek being your goalies. So New Jersey for me at the moderate price here, minus 115. Even though, as I mentioned, you talk about the price now versus before the season, obviously huge adjustments have been made up in the Devil power rating, down in the Ranger power rating. What do you think here, Alex? New Jersey, New York.
Yeah, and it makes total sense. Like I said, this New Jersey team, they're legit. They have all 4 lines rocking and rolling. They've got some great goaltending with Vanacek, and this is a team to be feared with now. And like I said, the books are now finally catching up to it, but we're still getting some good value here because I don't think the Rangers are worth being in a pick 'em spot in this situation. I understand they've won 9 of the last 10 meetings, but this is a rivalry. These two teams do not like each other. It's always chippy play. This is one of those games where you see a lot of power play chances because there's a lot of penalties, a lot of pushing and shoving after whistles, and we usually tend to see a couple of good fights every now and then too with these two teams. And the fact that New Jersey is in the spot where the Rangers were expected to be right now, I think that's going to fire them up even more and say, hey, you know what? We're at the top of the mountain in the Metro. This is a team we haven't been able to beat in recent years, and everybody was looking at them as the favorites to win the East, the favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Let's put on a show here in Madison Square Garden and pick up a nice win. So I like New Jersey here. Also going to look at that first period over. I'm going to wait and grab it live, even though this is a low price, $1.35. I've seen a couple places $1.30, $1.27. Wait and grab this in game. Despite the Rangers being one of the worst teams of the first period over, they've only cashed 9 of them so far this season. They're actually 6-4 their last 10. Also, the first period over is 7-2 in the last 9 meetings with these two teams. Like I said, you tend to see the pace start off frenetic in the first 20 minutes. Like I said, a lot of penalties, a lot of power play chances. Ends up being a lot of goals. So I'm going to go first period over live, but I'm going to right now for pregame play Devils minus $1.15.
Devils minus 115 and looking maybe live for over in this one with the Devils and the Rangers. And yeah, I mean, I look at the Devils, and you want to talk about some stats that are worth mentioning here. High danger chances for the New Jersey Devils are first in the NHL right now. High danger chances generated. High danger chances allowed defensively. New Jersey's also first in the NHL. They've allowed the fewest high danger chances, believe it or not. You talk about a team that's dominating in that statistic, the high danger chances. Number 1 in terms of generated offensive or high danger chances, and also first in the league right now in fewest high danger scoring chances allowed. That's how you put together a run like this. And you're playing sound, you're playing defensive minded hockey, and it's because you're also, in a situation where you have the puck so much, and when you do lose the puck, you're fast enough to get it back. And that's always, I think, a key to success. And you're definitely seeing that right now from the Devils. No question about that. So as far as the, again, with the props go, it's just the same. You could go in a bunch of different routes here in terms of the prop market, because you've got certainly any line that can score for you. Zetterlund got a goal the last game. I'm in particular thinking he's got value because he's been someone that is not priced like some of these other Devils forwards are. Same thing goes with Miles Wood. He's cooled off a little bit, but he always seems to be able to find the back of the net. But certainly when you talk about Jack Hughes, obviously he's going to be well priced, but he is absolutely just, rolling right now. What can you say? He had a hat trick against Washington in that victory over the Capitals, 4 goals in the last 2 games combined. And look, he had a little bit of a drought before that. So when you got a player that's the caliber of a Jack Hughes and he starts to light it up, you maybe ride with it until proven otherwise. All right, next up, we've got Vegas and Columbus. The Golden Knights minus 310, road favorites, 6.5 the total in this one. Very interesting interview, by the way, Jack Eichel. He was one of the post-game guests of the Hockey Night in Canada After Hours show, which I don't know how many of you have seen it, but if you haven't, it's terrific. Scott Oak has done it for years. It's after the late game on Saturday night that Hockey Night in Canada shows, which happened to be Vegas and Vancouver, and they had Jack Eichel on, and they talked briefly about the game and, the back-to-back losses for Vegas at home. Remember, Seattle beat them, and then, of course, Vancouver just absolutely steamrolled them 5-1 in Vegas on Saturday. And Jack Eichel says, I think we just need to get away for a bit. Maybe it's the best thing for us. He said we had a great road trip the last time we went away on the road away from Vegas for a long period of time. They had that perfect 5-0 Eastern road trip earlier this season. So maybe there's some truth to that from Jack Eichel, that, look, maybe this team, to get out of their first little speed bump, if you will, of the season. They're not playing horribly, but 2-3 in their last 5 games is a little bit of a speed bump for the Vegas Golden Knights, considering how well they were playing before that. Maybe they do just need to get on the road, and they're certainly going to have that opportunity coming up to show just how good they can be away from home once again, because they've got a 4-game trip here with Columbus tonight and then Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Boston after that. So, and they've been great on the road this year, 9-2 away from home this year, the Vegas Golden Knights. So I wouldn't want to step in front of Vegas in this spot. I don't. I mean, I understand it's the 3rd game in 4 nights. Travel from Vegas out to Ohio, 3 time zones over, only a day off in between. But I always say this with teams that are not playing good hockey, teams that are struggling, if you're focused and you're the better team, you'll beat them. And to me, I just get that sense from Vegas tonight. This is their night to beat down this just decimated Columbus team with tons of injuries left and right. By the way, Danil Tarasov is in net. The one caveat is he's going to be in net, and the last time we saw him in net, he basically stole a win against Florida. He was outstanding. 3 goals on 50 shots, a 5-3 win for the Jackets. He's going to need that probably again, because I expect Vegas to bring it tonight, be at their absolute best in this game. We'll see if he can duplicate that effort. Columbus, they've been competitive. I'll say that. I mean, the Islander lost 3-2, Montreal 3-1. They were in that game. They upset Florida because of the heroics of Tarasov. They beat Montreal. They lost the second meeting to Montreal, but they beat them previously. They beat Philly in overtime. They lost in overtime to the Islanders. It's not like they've been blown out with all these injuries and all this personnel missing, key personnel. They've still been largely competitive, but I think they're getting a angry, focused, hell-bent, urgent Vegas Golden Knights team, in my opinion, for this game tonight. And again, the injuries are just tons. 4 starting defensemen: Jake Bean, Nick Blankenberg, Adam Boquist, Zach Werenski, Voracek, Lionel Danforth up front. Tessier's still out. Now Eric Goodbranson may not play tonight. Game time decision. That could be now 5 defensemen, 5 guys that would be in your starting blue line at the beginning of the season that could be out tonight for the Jackets if Eric Goodbranson also doesn't play. And now Johnny Hockey is also dealing with an illness, and he's a game-time decision tonight for Columbus, Johnny Gaudreau. So, I mean, it's just a decimated hockey team right now. I don't do this very often, but I'm going to do it here tonight. I'm going to lay the puck and a half, minus 120 with Vegas. I think this is just one of those kill spots for Vegas. Shake it off. You lost 2 in a row. You haven't played your best the last 5 games. Get on the road. Get off to a great start. Hammer this decimated Jackets team So I'm going to go Vegas puck line. Don't do a ton of puck lines, but I will here. Vegas -1.5, -120. Alex, what do you think here? Golden Knights Jackets.
Yeah, I'm looking the same direction, but I'm just going to go first period. I'm going to lay the half a goal and get +110, +115 in that spot. Like I said, Columbus, the injury bug is just biting the crap out of them right now, and it's not good. And so Vegas getting on the road and getting off to a hot start, that's going to be important for them, not just in the trip, but I think in the game itself. So I like them come out guns blazing in the first 20 minutes. I'll go first period puck line with the Golden Knights.
All right, Alex going puck line, but going in the first 20 minutes with Vegas on the puck line here, -0.5 at pretty much +115. You can actually still get a good plus price on that, -0.5 +115 with the Vegas Golden Knights here in the first period. Again, I credit to the Jackets. Like I said, I think the overall team effort's been solid, but you start to look at, especially tonight, if Gaudreau doesn't play, what this lineup is going to look like. I mean, you could be looking at maybe Roslovic or Trey Fix-Wolanski, who just got called up from the AHL to be on the top line with Jenner and Nyquist. It's thank goodness Kent Johnson's been good. And actually, he is one player I might look at from a prop standpoint. This guy can play. He's a great offensive player. Remember watching him play for Canada at the World Juniors. He's a good hockey player, Kent Johnson. He's going to be a very good hockey player for a long period of time. And I think he's the one prop I would look at if I'm going to bet anybody for Columbus tonight to score a goal. It would be him. Vegas, you could spread the wealth. Like I say, Smith, Stone, Eichel, go on down the list. They've all been pretty solid in terms of their production early in the season. So definitely you could go in different routes there in terms of goal scorer props. Riley Smith, 10 goals. Eichel, 11. Stone, 9. Marchessault, 8. Will Carrier, a little bit of a sleeper right now, too, that you might want to sprinkle on. William Carrier, has scored 4 goals in the last 6 games for the Vegas Golden Knights. So maybe you look in his direction for a little bit more of a bargain bin option in terms of a goal prop tonight. All right, next up, Tampa Bay Buffalo. We've got the Tampa Bay Lightning currently -145 road favorites here, 6.5 the total in this game. You've got the Sabres, who had that brutal losing streak, trying to show signs of bouncing back from it. And to be honest, they've done a better job of it here in recent games. They lost to New Jersey, of course, following those back-to-back victories against Montreal and St. Louis. We'll see if they can keep it going here as this homestand continues. I kind of like Buffalo a little bit here at +125 in this game, on this homestand of theirs. Tampa Bay, they are off a 5-2 win against St. Louis on Friday night, that TNT nationally televised game. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here against Buffalo. The one concern I would have with taking Buffalo, even though I lean in that direction, is obviously we know it's been a dominant series history for the Lightning, 9-1. The last 10 meetings between these two teams. In Buffalo alone, I think it's even uglier for the Buffalo Sabres. Just 4 of the last 5 in Buffalo, the Lightning have been victorious. That's something that would definitely concern you a little bit as well. But, you look at Tampa Bay, their underlying numbers suggest a team that's playing good but not great hockey right now. I think that's definitely accurate when it comes to Tampa Bay. Doesn't mean they can't turn it up at some point, but no doubt. And they're only 5-4 on the road, so barely above 500 away from Amalie Arena there in Tampa Bay. So I don't mind to look toward Buffalo here in this one. As far as the total goes in this game, we've seen it kind of trend over. I'd lean that way as well when it comes to the Lightning and the Sabres tonight. Alex, your thoughts here, Tampa, Buffalo?
Yeah, I grabbed the first period over 2 at +120 this morning. It's dropped now to +110. +105, and that's because Brian Elliott more likely is going to be going for Tampa Bay, so that
Yep.
naturally makes sense. But like you mentioned, the series history of these two teams, it's been pretty one-sided. But as far as the first period total goes, 10-3 to the over the last 13 meetings. Looking back, so there's been high-scoring spots, and these are two of the better teams in the first period over this season. Like I said, with these two goalies, basically both teams running their backup goalies, I think that's good value to get. Usually, you would tend to get a higher number, even with a 2. We've seen some 2s that have opened up, at minus money. So still worth playing at a plus price.
Yeah, I think the over is a good bet here with Elliott in. I mean, he is 4-1. I mean, again, and he's a veteran guy. He's capable of having good games, but that's why you look at the actual numbers with his goaltending performances, statistics, And you look at it, yeah, they're 4-1 in his starts, but he has a 3.37 goals against average, 891 save percentage. That kind of tells you that they've been giving him a bunch of run support. The offense has been there to help out Brian Elliott quite a bit this year. Hasn't always been because of his play necessarily in between the pipes. Even though he's 4-1, he's benefited from a lot of goal scoring production and support from his Tampa Bay Lightning teammates. And I'm just looking at the goals saved above average numbers. I'm always interested with what we're seeing there. He's a little bit below average. He's a little bit below average because obviously average is 0 with the goals saved above average. Anything above that is you're performing better than average as a goaltender. He's performing a little bit below average. He's got a minus 1.99 goals saved above average this year, Brian Elliott. So not great, not brutal like the likes of Merzlikins and Campbell and Demko and Gibson and Kokkonen and Mrazek and some of these guys that are near the bottom in the goals saved above average, but not great either from his standpoint. I'm fascinated to see where Luukkonen is because I think Luukkonen is ahead of. Now he's had very minimal starts, so
Right,
you have to factor that in, small sample size. But I think Luukkonen for the Buffalo Sabres here. Yeah, minus, let me just see here, goals saved above average. Yeah, a little bit better. That's pretty close, actually, minus 1.4. Not a huge gap, slightly better than Elliott in the goals saved above average category for Ukko Pekka Luukkonen here for the Buffalo Sabres, who will get the start in net tonight for them against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who gave up only 2 goals in a nice win over St. Louis in his last start last week at home, 6-2. So that was a very good outing from him. We'll see if he can duplicate that tonight, but I don't think he'll shut down Tampa completely. So Buffalo and the over would be the way I would go there in that game. All right, next up, we've got Dallas and St. Louis. The Dallas Stars minus 130, road favorites. The total in this game currently 6 across the board. A lot of money is poured in on Dallas here in this game. People are not buying St. Louis's comeback the other night against the Florida Panthers, as impressive as it was. I'd love to be fly on the wall of that second intermission speech from Berube, because I guarantee you he was livid. Something was said because, like I said, like we talked about on the recap yesterday, looked like a different hockey team in the third period, totally swarming the Florida Panthers net, and obviously they wipe out that deficit and they come all the way back to get the victory in that game. We will see if they can follow that up here. They're 5-4 on home ice. They're a streaky team, so I mentioned it with St. Louis. When they're on the losing streak, you fade them. When they're on the winning streak, you bet on them. And then when they get on a losing streak again, you fade them again. Well, they did snap the losing streak, but they did it in very fortuitous fashion. We do have to keep that in mind. We'll see if that continues here, if they can now get on another win streak like they did before, taking on Dallas. It does feel like for Dallas, it is third game in 4 nights for both teams. So there's really no advantage there either way. But for Dallas, off 2 losses now, back-to-back against Winnipeg and also Colorado, you would expect them to bring a good effort here tonight to St. Louis for this Stars team. And again, with the Blues, you do have Robert Thomas ruled out. That's one of your top 2 centers. That's significant day-to-day right now with a lower body injury. So Craig Berube is going to have some shuffling down the middle of the lineup with the center ice position. Going into this game, it looks like it's going to be Ryan O'Reilly, still number 1 center, but moving on up to the second line center spot, close shave Barbashev, Ivan Barbashev here for the St. Louis Blues. Braden Shen also left the game against Florida due to injury, but it looks like he's okay, good to go. He'll center the third line with Jake Neighbors, Jordan Kyrou, and then you'll have Noel Acciari as your 4th center for St. Louis. So a little bit of shuffling there going on in terms of the center ice position for the St. Louis Blues. For Dallas, like I said, this is a team that's played some pretty good hockey all year. Jake Ottinger back in net for them tonight. Jordan Binnington will be in net for the St. Louis Blues tonight. Jake Ottinger looked like he was turning the corner. A couple of games where he wasn't at his absolute best. The Chicago game, he wasn't great, although, of course, Dallas rallies massively in the third period to beat Chicago that night. And then, of course, the Winnipeg game where, he gives up 5 goals and a loss. So, again, we're waiting for that version of Ottinger that is just that version we saw much of last season in the playoffs against Calgary. Haven't seen it, for a long stretch of time. I get the feeling he's going to play well tonight. I do. And I agree with the move to Dallas. I think it's a good spot, good situation for them. St. Louis just caught lightning in a bottle with a third period comeback against a Florida team that maybe turned it off when they had that significant lead so early in the game. I definitely think Dallas, the money moving toward them is warranted in this game. What do you think, Alex? Dallas, St. Louis.
Yeah, you haven't completely missed the boat on Dallas yet. There's still some $1.20, some $1.24, $1.25s around, but I would grab it as soon as you can. I played it at $1.10 this morning, anticipating that Andre would start, and I figured that would trickle in some money. And of course, the way that St. Louis could come back and win in that last game, and people kind of realized that was more of a Florida collapse rather than just a dominant St. Louis performance. And Grice looked absolutely terrible in the first 15 minutes of that game. So this is a spot where, even though St. Louis has historically played well against Dallas, I think this is a good spot for the Stars to kind of catch a Blues team that they said they had lost back-to-back games before the comeback win on Saturday. I think they might be trending more downward than up. So I'm going to take a shot with Dallas here. Like I said, I grabbed the $1.10. I would recommend anything in the $1.20 to $1.25 range.
Yeah, and don't be fooled by the Winnipeg game was back and forth. It could have went either way. Hellebuck was very good that night. They ran into two terrific goalie performances in those two losses, Dallas. Hellebuck was great Friday night against Winnipeg, and Georgiev was outstanding against Colorado. And I thought their effort was commendable for back-to-back in the thin air, the altitude on a back-to-back. I thought Dallas played a hell of a hockey game, believe it or not, even though they lost 4-1. Again, so it's one of those classic situations where you just look at the final score, you don't think they played well. Yeah, they did play well. I thought they played pretty well, Dallas. 42 shots on goal. Georgiev was outstanding. He's had a great last, I would say, month or so in goal for the Avalanche. And he played great. Dallas was, so many great chances to be right there in that game, and they got stymied. So, again, they didn't play poorly necessarily in that tough back-to-back spot against the Avs. I do think the over, I'm going to come back to that again. I was very upset that the over fell short with that Dallas-Colorado game. That was my best bet for Saturday's show. But I'm tempted to come back to the well with it one more time here in this one, because Dallas has been trending that way for the most part. That was only the second time in the last 10 games that a Dallas game has failed to reach 6 goals. And with this total being 6, I think that's enough for me to take a shot here once again with the over involving the Dallas Stars. If it's 6.5, maybe I don't. But the fact that this is down to 6, I think it's a situation where the over is worth a look, with the number being where it is in this game tonight. All right, the last game of this Monday night card, the Florida Panthers begin a Alberta and Western Canadian road trip tonight in Edmonton against the Oilers. Florida minus 115, road favorites in this game. The total sitting at 6.5 rather, pretty much across the board in this game. This is an interesting spot for Florida. They lost earlier this season to Edmonton at home. Skinner was in net that night and played very well for the Edmonton Oilers. Will we see him in net tonight? He got the win against Florida earlier this season down in Sunrise, and he played well. But they did finally get a win with Jack Campbell. They've started Campbell 2 in a row. Is this a sign that Jay Woodcroft's trying to get Campbell on the beam again? And look, they won. He actually, had to make a couple of big saves in the third. There was a couple of goals I didn't love that he gave up against the Rangers in the first 2 periods, but they rallied for him with that 4-goal comeback. No goalie confirmation yet for either team in this game, and that's why I haven't bet this game yet. I'm waiting to see who's going to be starting. Skinner's projected for the Oilers. Bobrovsky is actually projected for Florida, and maybe you do give Bobrovsky another chance because, again, Spencer Knight had been playing so well much of the season, but, the roof caved in on him and his Panthers team Saturday night against St. Louis. So do you go back to Bobrovsky, who's not someone I trust game to game, who I still think this season has been more than a little bit underwhelming? 4-5, 3.62 goals against average, .888 save percentage. You've got Barkov still out, it looks like, for the Florida Panthers. He's going to miss the first 2 games of this road trip. Our very own George Richards, who does great work for Florida Hockey Now on our partnerships, our partners, National Hockey Now, Florida Hockey Now. George Richards, on top of that, with the status of Barkov, that he's going to miss at least these 2 Alberta games, Edmonton tonight and then Calgary tomorrow night. So obviously you're talking about one of the best 2-way centers in hockey. You're going to miss him when he's not available to you. And I think they probably missed his presence too. He'd be someone that would tame the waters, take the temperature of the team when that game is starting to unravel against St. Louis the way it did the other night, and you didn't have him there, and all of a sudden you're a little bit concerned that they just didn't get that game back on the tracks. So that is a big loss for the Florida Panthers, no question. Oilers aren't without their share of injuries, though. Ryan McLeod's been placed on IR. That's unfortunate. He's played pretty well this year. Yamamoto's been out for a while. We know Evander Kane's not coming back anytime soon. And now Warren Fogle also out tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. And he's someone that started to get his offense going a little bit here in this game. It's a really tough game. Florida revenge, but Florida's got the Calgary game tomorrow night. Huge hyped game. Matthew Tkachuk returning to Calgary, returning to the Saddle Dome for the first time. That's a big spot. Do you have the focus required to take care of business tonight in Edmonton? Plus, the goalies aren't confirmed yet, so I'm passing for now. I think if it's Bobrovsky in net, I lean Edmonton at that point. If it's Knight, I maybe temper the enthusiasm of making that bet. I kind of think there's a negative spot for Florida more than it is for, and it is Edmonton off a road trip as well. But look, things have been going poorly. We know momentum is a funny thing in hockey when you don't have it, and then you finally get that kind of a win like the Oilers got against the Rangers, a comeback when it looked like you had no shot. It galvanizes you, it energizes you, and you come back the next game and you get on a bit of a run. So I guess push comes to shove, I lean Edmonton, but I ain't pulling the trigger until I know for sure the lineups and who's in net. What do you think here, Alex? Florida, Edmonton.
Yeah, this is more likely to be a pass too. There's a lot of other spots that I like in this, and like I said, waiting for the confirmations. If I were to take anything Florida side, it would probably be something in the first period because we saw them get off to a great first period start last game, and Edmonton not so much. Took Edmonton about 40 minutes to finally wake up and get their comeback win. But like I said, these are two teams that are having some issues and coming off of their respective games they had on Saturday. It just was one you want to watch it, maybe jump in live with, but just kind of just observe and get some notes from them.
Florida, by the way, we talked about early in the season, it was a kind of a team trending under, adjusting to Paul Maurice, a chip and chase, forecheck style of play compared to just trading chances and the rush style of play. But nonetheless, things have changed here for Florida the last 6 games in terms of the scoring ways. They've been trending over, and it's really because this team has been scoring, but they've also been yielding goals at an alarming rate, whether it's Bobrovsky or Knight. Knight was playing well for a long period of time. The last couple games for Knight weren't nearly as good, and it's shown up in the totals for Florida. 6 straight overs for the Panthers entering this game tonight against the Oilers. So, again, I would only look over the total given that statistic, even though you would think Edmonton's got to try to play a little bit better defensively at home. You'd think Florida going on the road is going to try to tighten things up as well. And the series history's been under, believe it or not, with these two teams. 4-1, 6-0. You had one game that got over 6.5, 4-3, and then the 4-2 game earlier this season. So kind of a push and pull for me with the total when it comes to this game. Prop-wise, I definitely think there are some opportunities in that market for this game tonight. Nick Cousins, who is a hardworking player, who I think honestly warranting the opportunity here to be on the top line. He's going to get that opportunity. Don't be shocked if he finds the back of the net. He's the kind of player that scores those tough area goals. He's playing with great players, Bennett and Tkachuk on the top line tonight for the Panthers. Something to consider. You're not going to get him priced like the other 2 line mates. Something to maybe look at in terms of a goal prop on the Panthers side. Nick Cousins elevated to the top line tonight in this game. Anton Lundell's going up to the second line center spot. He's worth a look. He's scored in back-to-back games for the Florida Panthers entering tonight. That not a bad option either in terms of the goal prop market. The third line's a little bit of a different look. Look out for this 23-year-old kid, the Finn Alexei Heponiemi for the Florida Panthers. He's been called up from the AHL. He's going to be on the third line, it looks like, tonight for this game, make his first appearance of the season with the Panthers. 4 goals, 7 points in 16 AHL games before his call-up. So a little Alexei Heponiemi could be worth a look there. He's playing with my other prop guy that I've had some success with this year, E2 Coolmint Lusterinen for the Panthers. Again, I'm always going to say he's worth a shot. He always seems to get chances every night. And then for Edmonton, with their goal props tonight in this game, there's some options there as well because their lineup's shaken up a bit. It looks like Janmark, second line. Holloway is the one I really want to hone in on. He finally finds the back of the net. It'd been a rough season. He's been a suspect player in his own end. He's had turnovers with the puck. He's been benched a couple of times by Jay Woodcroft because of it, or at least had his ice time reduced because of some of the plays and mistakes he's made away from the puck. Well, and plus the offense was just dormant for him. So it was a bad combination for Dylan Holloway much of the season for the Oilers. But this is a really talented kid. He just needed something to go right, go his way. Keep in mind, he's only 21 years old. He's still basically a baby in the NHL. So, he's going to eventually, I think, find it. He gets the monkey off the back. He gets his first National Hockey League goal to tie the game against the New York Rangers on Saturday. I'm taking his goal prop tonight. Dylan Holloway, there's a talented guy. Now he gets that first goal. I'm not saying the floodgates for sure are going to open, but I like situations like that. Kids finally seeing the puck go in, the red light come on, and maybe now you can take some shots with him, maybe to get on a roll offensively for a guy that we know has got that ability to finish around the front of the net. And you can get plus 500, plus 550 in some spots with Dylan Holloway to find the back of the net here. So I think it's a good prop game. A lot of good options, a lot of intriguing value options in terms of goal scorer props in that game with the Panthers and Oilers. All right, there we go. That is the Monday card. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate it. Check out patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 a month. Goalie charts, totals charts, all of that there and more. Our daily Ice Guys betting card is there. Make sure you check that out. Patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 a month. And we'll have plenty more bonus content, especially as the new year arrives.
Yeah, and also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. For the next 7 days, you get free shipping and 15% off of everything in the stores. We got T-shirts, we've got caps, we've got stuff for the dog, for the baby, pretty much everything. So get your Christmas shopping done early with the Ice Guys store and check that out.
All right, excellent. Good stuff indeed. The Ice Guys store, and we're going to be rolling out some new items too in the future as well to the store. So looking forward to that as well. Check out the Ice Guys store, and make sure you check out the Betcast tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. What a slate. Great slate. Florida Calgary is the main event, I guess you could say. It's two pretty good hockey teams. It's obviously the Matthew Tkachuk storyline going back to Calgary for the Saddle Dome. In the Saddle Dome for the first time as a member of the Florida Panthers. So check us out. If you want to join Alex and I on the Betcast, just send either one of us a DM and we will send you the link for the Betcast before it begins tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, our November Betcast. Definitely looking forward to that. Live betting, commentary, bring your booze. It's a pub and a bar atmosphere. We're doing some drinking. You better believe it on these Betcasts as well. So a lot of fun. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Looking forward to best bets as well. And I'm looking forward to hopefully not spit shit in the bed after an 8-0 day. I don't want to go in the other direction. I want to follow it up with another good betting night in the NHL. Alex, how are we going to do that? What do you like for your best bet?
Yeah, I'm looking at this Tampa Bay Buffalo first period over. Like I said, you can grab, still getting plus price around $1.10 at over 2. These are two teams that have played high-scoring affairs against one another. Both teams running backup goalies tonight, and they have done well in the first period overs over the last 10 games or so. So we're going to go Sabres Lightning first period over 2. Grab a plus $1.10 or higher as a best bet tonight.
All right, there we go. Buffalo and Tampa Bay Buffalo over first period. Best bet here for Alex B. Smith on this Monday card. My best bet for this slate, I'm going to go with I'm going to go Vegas Golden Knights puck line, -1.5, -120. I really like that play. I think it makes sense situationally. This team needs a bounce back. They're the much better team, obviously, and they're just a riddled Columbus team. And I'm going to like this even more if Gaudreau's ruled out. And then it really gets paper thin for the Columbus Blue Jackets up front. And if Eric Goodbranson's also ruled out, if he's also ruled out, he's a game-time decision as well. But if he's also ruled out, that's 5 of the Columbus Blue Jackets projected 6 starting defensemen prior to the season that would be out and not playing tonight in this game. So that is just a hole that I don't think they could get out of tonight against what I think is going to be a focused Vegas team, and a Vegas team that's played great on the road. A 5-game Eastern road trip sweep. The last time they were on the road, 9-2 on the road overall. We'll go Vegas -1.5, -120 on the puck line against Columbus for my best bet for this Monday NHL card. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back tomorrow on Tuesday, a big Tuesday for the Ice Guys, our daily show at 2 p.m. Eastern, and the live betcast tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Back with more Ice Guys tomorrow, presented by National Hockey Now.